with Ross Volkmer.
That broadcast school has really paid off.
And Christian Peck-Dimit.
Do you want to keep this job? Shut up, listen, learn.
The region's only local sports talk show, discussing it all from the preps to the pros.
What time is it? Jason!
Simulcasting on AM 730 Fox Sports Tri-State, streaming online at nwksradio.net and the Rockingham app.
They are everywhere.
The Blitz is presented by the Insurance Agency, the Farmers State Bank in Oakley, the Cowboy Corner Express, and Equity Bank of Hoxie, Quinter, and Grinnell.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
That's a quick 0-2. That one didn't. There comes Yelich to the plate, and Yelich is safe at home.
That one hammered the left. Forget about that one. 3-run home run for Jose Altuve, and the Astros lead it 4-1.
Bonner gets denied by Boston. Wheeler finds Clark from the logo.
And Renfroe pounds it to left field. Green goes back to the track, and it's off his glove and into the fence. 1 run is home. Here's MJ, and he is in there, and the throw gets away. Renfroe goes to third.
There's a drive, sucked the other way to left field deep. Palacios back. It is gone! Raffy Devers has done it. He has set a new Red Sox record by homering in 6 consecutive games.
Hey, happy Tuesday morning, everybody. We're back on the Morning Blitz. Ross Volkmer, Christian Peck-Dimit with you here on 102.5 U-Rock, AM 730 Fox Sports Tri-State, of course, online, nwksradio.net, the Rockingham app, and, of course, live video streaming as well through Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Join us any way that you can here on this Tuesday morning, a rainy Tuesday in Goodland. Is it rainy in Colby at this point in time, CPD?
It is, actually, oddly enough. So if you're watching on the live stream, I do the one earbud or one side of the headphones off, one on, like I'm doing a game.
It's a total generational thing. I don't know where it started. It's weird.
Oh, really? Okay, so I've always done it. A lot of the young
people do that. I don't know why.
I've always done it during games so that you can hear the crowd. It allows me to hear the crowd better because I have my return turned down while I'm on.
That's why you have a crowd mic.
No, but I have the return turned down. I don't want to hear myself while I'm calling it. So I just do it like this. Whatever side for my set, it's on the left side. So I keep the right side off so I can hear the crowd and I can hear the coaches. Usually, like if I'm on a home game, Colby fans know I'm pretty close to a bench over there, so I can hear what the coaches, the referees are yelling, and I think that can sort of add some color to the broadcast sometimes. But I'm doing it right now, and right as I put the headset on, actually, a couple of minutes ago, started hearing the rain up against the roof. So it's definitely coming down.
It was one of those few mornings that I just absolutely love. You get in the vehicle and you back out and you're driving to work and it's raining. And so it's raining as you drive in. I love those type of mornings. I mean, it would be better if I could just stay in bed and sleep with it raining, but that's not the case. So I think
that's true of most mornings.
I'll take second place with driving to work in the rain. I think it's just because it doesn't rain a ton in our neck of the woods. And growing up where I'm from, it didn't rain a ton. And so whenever it was, and if it did rain, it'd be like overnight while you were sleeping. So when it was raining in the morning and stuff, it was it was always a unique deal. I don't know. I don't know how I'd handle living in Seattle. I think I'd probably like it. I've been to Seattle twice, both just on layovers at the airport. But, it really, truly does rain. It seems like about every other hour. And so I kind of enjoyed it, but maybe I'd get sick of it if I was there all the time. I don't know.
I'm not a Kansas native, but I am, I'm getting used to the culture and all these things. And one of the things that I've noticed is just how precipitation and how the weather is talked about. Praying for rain and being thankful for rain is not often a sentiment expressed in Michigan. Now, granted,
does it rain a lot in Michigan?
It does rain a fair amount. In this, that old April showers bring May flowers.
Yes. So April it rains
phrase.
A lot.
It definitely April, May. You get a lot of that for sure. But yeah, a fair amount of rain, but it's also just, it's less of a farming community where I'm from, so it's less of a stressed sentiment. It's just interesting to pick up on all the stuff.
Yeah, think of all the things you've learned in the last almost year that you've been with us here in the
farmer's
High Plains.
permit.
So
that's something I didn't
yeah,
know.
farmers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, gotta love the farmer's permit. I had one of those. That's fantastic. Absolutely love the farmer's permit, baby. Start driving at 14. Love it. Love it. Love it.
Real quick, I know we've got a super packed show, so I'm just gonna tease a little bit some future segments because I've got 2 bits of information that I think we could fill whole shows with, and we might this summer. One of them, you cut some Caitlin Clark highlights from last night for the intro on the show this morning. I think ESPN's starting to have a bit of a Caitlin Clark problem. They are forcing, I am a huge women's basketball fan, a huge Caitlin Clark fan. I was covering the women's March Madness tournament 3 years ago, before the Caitlin Clark aura. But they're pushing it too much. I don't need to know what she ate for breakfast this morning. I don't need all of the crazy stuff that made people dislike Steph Curry and contributed to people disliking LeBron James. So I think that's worth looking into. Also, something that I know irks you from last week. They called them official meetings or formal meetings. It sounds sort of like interviews. As of 5 minutes ago, The Athletic confirmed that LA and the Lakers, in their search for a head coach, has officially had formal meetings, big quotes on that. It's definitely just interviews, with 3 candidates, one of whom is JJ Redick.
Yes, we've talked about on this show already about media personalities being head coaches with no prior head coaching or coaching experience, besides maybe a little league team or something like that. They have no experience, which to me is ridiculous. So anyway, we'll have to get to that stuff for sure. We've got a whole week and the summer's just began. I mean, you can absolutely tell that we are in summertime. You can just absolutely tell it because you get up in the morning. This is just I notice it. I get up in the morning and I live on a street that goes right by GHS or goes right by the Max Jones Fieldhouse. The traffic is down 50%. It's huge. You check out the live stream numbers, which we can see live and in time. They're down a little bit because people aren't getting up to go to school or get ready for that.
They don't need the sports.
They don't need it in the morning. So the summertime is just a little bit of a slower time, and I knew that all along. It's just the way it's always been, but it's just a different time, that is for sure. But we're going to keep rolling here on the Morning Blitz today. It's a very busy day in college baseball. Ross is going to talk about that in the walk-off. I don't know why I went third person there, but I'm going to talk about it in the walk-off coming up here in today's show with college baseball and how great of a day it really is. We will get to some I've been wanting to discuss since I've seen this come out last week, but we've been really jam-packed with some other things with regional track and regional baseball and softball. But Athlon Sports put out their Big 12 football coaches rankings, and I want to see where does Lance Leipold and Chris Kleiman stack up, because honestly they should be near the top, and I look forward to discussing that coming up here in the college football and with the new additions of Utah and the other ones as well, Arizona State, those schools, bringing them in as well. I'm intrigued to see where they stack up in the college football coaches rankings. But I want to get things started first and foremost with state golf yesterday. It was, I don't know how you want to put it. It was not a good day for teams. It was a pretty good day for individuals. That's, I guess, how I would kind of encapsulate state golf yesterday. Of all the teams that made it, only one is going to play here in day 2. That would be Hoxie. And that's an interesting story in the 2A tournament. Hoxie made the cut. They went 55 over par. They tied Hill City, who had 55 over par. I can't tell you how many times I've had to look up the Keisha Golf Rulebook, but I have definitely gone through it more than a fair share of times this week. But what happens if you have a tie for the last team spot in the tournament? Because the top 6 teams make the cut for day 2. Well, Hill City and Hoxie tied for 6th at 55 points. So how do you go about deciphering who makes the cut? Luckily, the Keisha Rulebook steps in and says, well, The way that it works is there's usually 6 guys or girls, depending on which season you're in, on a team. And it is the 5th golfer. It's the 5th golfer score that you take. And whoever has the lower of the 5th golfer scores are the ones that make the cut. So Hoxie's 5th golfer was great wrestler Ian Giancola. He was 24 over par. Whereas Hill City's 5th golfer was Kenley Googleman. He was 38 over par. And so Hoxie makes the cut over Hill City as a team based upon the 5th person in your lineup's score.
See, I just a minute ago, I was talking about getting used to all the cultural things in Kansas.
And this is one of them, or
this
what?
is, I don't know if this counts as one of them, but we're talking about state golf today, and so Christian's doing his prep work and looking into this, and he goes, "Why the heck is Hoxie moving on? I can't figure it out." And that
would be why.
Feels, I'm not going to call it arbitrary, but why the 5th golfer? That seems like such an odd one to pick. No, wouldn't it be?
I
You
think
want the last
I
don't know.
I don't know. Maybe it's because some teams don't have enough to make 6, and so you don't base it off the 6th golfer, but you have feel pretty confident you can get to 5. That would be my thought. That'd be a great question for like Coach Goods, Connie Livengood, if you're listening, into the show. She's been in high school golf for a couple of decades, and so she would be able to tell us why it was the 5th golfer. But that's just in the rules. They take the 5th golfer score, and in this case, Hoxie had the lower score thanks to Ian Giancola plus 24. They are able to move on to day 2. They were the only team that qualified in 2A. The only team that qualified in 2A, 3A, or 1A. Colby didn't make the cut. Rollins County didn't make the cut. Greeley County didn't make the cut. Decatur Community did not make the cut. Everybody else did not have a great showing as a team. Now, that does not mean that if you were on a team that qualified and you had a low score that you did not make the cut. It just means that your team did not make the cut. That is the biggest thing to remember as you push forward on this. But so once again, you had Hoxie was the only team that made it. They were led by Noah Dowell, Noah Dowell was able to finish in the top 10. He was 5 over par to finish in 7th place after day 1. He is Hoxie's top golfer. He's not the top area golfer, though, at the 2A tournament score-wise. That's Oakley's Easton Fink. He's sitting in 6th place right now after going 4 over par at this point in time. So you have a couple of golfers from the area that are in the top 10 after day 1. Those guys made the cut. Also making the cut in 2A was Hill City's Dylan Buttig and Noah Fry. Those two gentlemen did make the cut. Noah Fry shot 12 over par. Buttig was 10 over par. They made the cut individually, but not as a team. So once again, in the 2A tournament, you had Hoxie's entire team, Hill City's Noah Fry and Dylan Buttig and Oakley's Easton Fink. Those guys made the cut in 2A. In 1A, it was a lot of individuals. No teams made the cut, but Rollins County's Jeb Castens and Braxton Dixon all made the cut. They finished. Castens was 22nd after shooting 14 over par. Dixon was 27th at 16 over par. Lincoln Schaefer of Tribune Greeley County made the cut in 23rd. He's 14 over par. But the best golfer from our region was St. Francis's Jay Schmoll. He shot 10 over par. That puts him in 12th. Currently on the 1A leaderboard going into day number 2. He made the cut. Also making the cut yesterday was Decatur Community's Gage Willoughby. He was able to make the cut down. He was 39th, but there were a lot of ties. And once again, ties mean that you can move on. And so Willoughby, despite being in 39th, he made the cut. And so did Keen Dinkle in 44th at 20 over par. He not only qualified for the state track and field championships, he qualified for state golf, but he's going into day 2 of state golf. This kid can do it all. Keen Dinkle.
How the kids do track and golf at the same time, I can never figure out. I mean, what an absolute accomplishment. Also, I've seen his name a couple times sort of throughout this season. Is his name just the letter J?
Yes, it is. Just Jay Schmoll. Yep.
It's pretty cool. I don't know if that's good or bad, or I've never seen it like that, but I love it.
Yep, Jay Schmoll. So Schmoll, Schaefer, Willoughby, Dinkle, Castens, and Dixon all make the cut for day 2 in 1A. And then 3A, it's pretty darn simple. Only one golfer made the cut. That would be Goodland's Barrett Schlosser. He made the cut as he finished 10 over par, and in 27th place. He's the only 3A golfer to make the cut. Colby's top golfer. It was a tough showing for Colby. Isaiah Rosales was the top golfer, finishing in 33rd at 11 over par, which means he just missed the cut by about a shot. But it was a tough day overall for Colby golfers. Rosales was 11 over par. Caleb Dixon was 17 over par. Zane Betts, who's probably been, if not their number 1, their number 2 golfer all season long, he was 22 over par. Cade Youngman at 25 over par. Kieran Youngman at 34 over par. And Aiden Riley at 44 over par. So a challenge.
Yeah, a challenge certainly.
At the Emporium Muni.
Obviously, Caleb Dixon ended up having an all right day. I was a little surprised, like you said, about Zane being as low as he was on the leaderboard. But I mean, it's golf. It's not an easy sport, and it's very quick, a very quick sport to sort of bite you in the butt, and the scores jump up. But unfortunate that it happened on a day like the first day of state golf.
You want to talk about the power of radio? I want to talk about the power of radio.
I would love.
Guess who's listening to the show this morning? We called and asked for help, and Coach Goods has delivered. She has texted in on the text line 785-899-2222. Thank you, Coach Goods. She goes, the rule has been that way since they went to the 2-day tourney at state. They have had that rule for the right to go to state ever since I can remember, so they kept it for the 2-day tournament. So it has just been a rule for as long as Coach Goods can remember, and she's been coaching for a very long time, so she would know. Thank you, Coach Goods. Connie Livengood, everybody. Thanks, Coach Goods. We really appreciate you joining the program this morning.
Thank you, Coach Goods. And you know what they say, we've done it like that forever is a great explanation for anything.
Why this rule? Well, I don't know. It kept working. It hasn't failed.
We always do it like this. That means that it should keep happening that way.
Anyway, so that once again, we're going back to what we started the conversation with. It was Hoxie that got the tiebreaker over Hill City because the 5th place golfer had the lower score for Hoxie than did in other ones. So
thank you on the text line. Jay Schmool is Jordan.
Everywhere I've ever seen it, it's Jay.
Same.
Everywhere. It doesn't matter. I've even seen it on a roster. Yeah. Like, I don't know. Maybe they just call him Jay Schmool, but his real name is Jordan. I don't know. But everywhere I've ever seen it, even on a football roster, it's Jay Schmool.
There's a reason I brought it up on the air. I've seen it the same way. Always Jay. We also got on the text line texter Randy. Thank you. 785-899-2222. The way to get your thoughts in. Thank you, Randy, for agreeing with me that it should be the number 1 golfer. He says using the number 1's golfer score to move on makes the most sense. I think so, or I think the first or the 5th. Anything in between seems almost arbitrary.
I am going to say I don't mind it being the 5th spot. I don't
think it's a big deal.
I don't hate I wouldn't like the first because sometimes you have a ringer on your team who's really, really good. And I don't know.
Advantage you.
I don't know. This is a team deal. So how good is the team? And you really judge how good the team is by
the last guy.
One. And you could do the 6th. My guess is, once again, that comes down to a number deal.
You might be right. I'm not saying it's a bad rule or if it's that big a deal. You know,
I didn't think we'd have a discussion on this morning on that rule, but
it's interesting. Stuff like that intrigues me.
Oh, by the way, shout out to Keisha. Thank you yesterday for posting not only with the scores, but the tee-off times for today. Because I can't tell you how complicated it is to go through and decide who made the cut for day 2. When you got to figure out, and they don't do a great job on the scores online posting it. So thank you for posting the tee times today and saying who made the cut and who didn't. So, which pretty much by saying they made the round 2 tee times means, of course, they made the cut. Obviously, Captain Obvious here. But so Barrett Schlosser will tee off at 10 o'clock. He will tee off this morning. So he's going to be the first ones off the tee. Another one I'll be keeping an eye on. One young man I love talking about on this show. That would be Norton's Eli Jones. He made the cut. He will tee off at 10:20 at Emporia there at the 3A tournament. Looking at 2A tee times today. we will see a host of guys getting going this morning. 10:30. Sorry, take that back. Let's see. I was trying to find some other tee times here real quickly before I move on. I was looking for the tee off time in 2A for, let's see. Of course, this deal is driving me nuts. Can I move this over? Oh, yeah, there we go. Let's see. Hoxie will have their first golfer, Matt Bretz. He'll be teeing off at around 10:30 this morning to get things going there for Hoxie. Hill City's Dylan Buddig and Nolan Fry will tee off around 10:10, 10:20 here this morning for some 2A golfers there. And then I was going to quickly look up in 1A as well, kind of the first golfer off the tee. I think will be Keen Dinkle as well as Gage Willoughby. They'll both tee off on 10. Well, the St. Francis as well as Wallace County golfer, they'll tee off at 10 o'clock on number 10. Will Gage Willoughby and Keen Dinkle. So the first golfers off the tee this morning. So there you go. An update from the state tournaments of golf. Once again, 1A at Heston, 2A in Dodge City, and 3A at Emporia. I wonder how much Mother Nature has. I don't think much Mother Nature's probably impacted that. It's mostly just kind of the northwest corner. And boy, if you're in Ray, Colorado and listening, I am hearing they might be swimming there. They've gotten a ton of water. Holy cow. And it's still raining, I think, this morning. Just as a side note there. But an update from State Golf. Good luck to all the athletes. So once again, Hoxie's team, Hill City's Dylan Buddig, Nolan Fry, Oakley's Easton Fink, Barrett Slosher for Goodland, Rollins County's Jeb Cassins, Braxton Dixon, St. Francis' Jay Schmoll, Greeley County's Lincoln Schaefer, Oberlin's Gage Willoughby, and Wallace County's King Dinkle, all going to be golfing here coming up in about the next 30 minutes to get things going for Acacia State Golf and day 2. We'll see who brings home some medals today. Who gets some hardware? Who brings home some hardware? Speaking of hardware, no, this is a terrible transition, but boy, I'm telling you what. I was watching the Royals again last night. Royals win over the Tigers 8-3. I'm telling you right now, the Royals have got something that I think a lot of baseball teams want, and that is just a confidence that is hard to be matched. Right now, I feel like when the Royals step into the yard at the K or anywhere they go, they are confident that they are going to win. They have got a belief. And I was watching the game on FS1 last night with Kevin Kugler, by the way, play-by-play man of the universe, as he's known. But they were just talking about how the confidence is so high with this Royals team. I mean, they were up 2-1 going into the 6th, and then Salvador Perez gets a heads-down home run that he slams over the left field fence. They actually would have 7 straight batters reach safely in that inning, score 6 runs, and build themselves an 8-1 lead going into the 7th. If their offense can provide semi-sorta that kind of production with the help of with the rotation that has been set, with Michael Waka, who, by the way, won his 3rd straight start. After a 1-4 start, he has now won 3 in a row to get to 4-4, where he allowed just a pair of runs on 6 hits in 7 innings. Like they're getting total and complete quality starts. Like, the quality start, I believe, is 5 innings. You got to get through 5 innings for it to count as a winnable game. But you're getting like old school starts, like where I'm not talking like back in the 50s. I'm talking like back when I was in high school. Guys would get to the 7th, then you'd hand it off to 2 bullpen guys in the 8th and the 9th, and then you'd get the win. That was impressive. And the Tigers are playing good baseball too. It's not as if they're playing a lowly team right now. The Tigers are playing good baseball, and they made it look easy.
Tigers, if you're going to be confident against a team, it would be a team from Detroit who is 5-11, in their last 16 games. I know they just beat the Diamondbacks.
Because they took 2 or 3 from the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, they did. They did take a couple from the Diamondbacks, so I will give you that. They're coming off a nice series, and I don't mean to trash on the Diamondbacks. I just mean to trash on my own teams, which the Tigers are giving you one or the other. They are either crushing you with pitching, or they are putting up like 8 runs. And we cannot get the same in the same game, and it's just crumbling and falling apart. We were the Tigers were undefeated team left in baseball, and now we're here with a losing record. But I don't think that should take away from what was a great win for the Royals last night, and I believe that's now 4 in a row for Kansas City. We talked about how tight they're making it at the top of the Central. It's going to be a race all year. because of how open this division is. But if they keep getting the starts the way they are, my goodness. I mean, you're right, Ross. It's not the crush a cigarette between innings and go and go pitch 8 2/3. But it is a place right now in KC where you can expect 6 or 7 with a couple 2-3 runs from basically every one of your starters. Basically everybody is putting up really
and they need
solid
that,
numbers.
and they need that because the bullpens have not been. They've probably been as
It's been
as
up and down.
shaky. So they need these quality starts. But it's you'll take. I mean, any team would take that. I mean, most teams are getting 5, maybe 6. You're getting a whole nother 3 outs from your starter. That's humongous. So the Royals they're playing with house money. I mean, they got a great starting rotation. The offense has come around to be good. And I'm not going to say it's spectacular, but it's really starting to turn a corner and be pretty darn good. The bullpen, like you said, has been up and down, and that is the big Achilles heel of this team. But they've won 7 of their last 10 to tonight's game 2 against the Tigers. They're 11 games above 500. I mean, they're playing with house money right now if you're Kansas City. House money.
Crazy, right? And I think it's a little early. I think the jury's still out on the bullpen just because they're still right near the bottom in number of innings pitched in baseball, period. Is the Royals bullpen, because the starters have been so good. So you're right. I mean, we've talked about it a lot. The bullpen's been very up and down, with a little more down than you'd like. But I think there's still a lot of time left for this bullpen, and you haven't seen as much of it as you have for other teams. But regardless, a win is a win, and a big one like that over Detroit is especially nice. Not for me, but I'm sure for most people, beating a division foe 640 tonight. First pitch over on KXXX.
There you go. Also, by the way, I was wrong, as I am from time to time on this show, but the Rockies, I thought they'd open up a game against the Athletics last night. No, sorry, they had an off day. They are in Oakland starting tonight, 7:40 Mountain Time, first pitch for the Rockies and the Athletics. All right, let's get to a break. We come back. I wanted to dive in a little bit onto and we're going to have tons of more time to decide to dissect this next topic because of the summer months and with college football on the horizon. But Athlon Sports released their Big 12 coaching rankings, and it's always fun to look at the rankings and see where regional coaches stack up. We'll do that next with Lance Leipold, Chris Kleiman, and where everybody else stacks up in the Big 12. That's next year on the Morning Blitz.
Why is Navage perfect for allergy sufferers? Rhino Systems Medical Director Dr. Howard Levine explains.
If someone's exposed to allergens, they can get rid of those immediately by washing out the nose. Navage works by pulling saline in one nostril, through the nose and out the other nostril, sucking out allergens, mucus, dust, and germs. Experience on-the-spot relief so you can breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier.
Navage is available at Sam's Club, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or online at Navage.com. Navage, breathe easy.
What's keeping you from learning the language you've always wanted to speak?
Too hard.
Takes too long.
Not with Babbel. Babbel's interactive lessons, podcasts, games, and more make learning fun.
Fun isn't hard.
Right. And in 10 minutes a day, Babbel's bite-sized lessons are designed to get you having real conversations in as little as 3 weeks.
That's not long.
It's not hard.
It's perfect.
It starts here. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
It's time for a check of the markets with the Anderson Trade Group on the Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio Network.
Good morning. This is Tom Saluda with the Anderson Trade Group with your overnight market report on May the 21st. July corn is down 2 at 4.57, step down 2 at 4.68, and D's down 1 at 4.82. July soybeans down 10 at 12.38, August down 8 at 12.34, and SEP soybeans down 7 at 12.13. Kansas City hard red winter wheat is down 3 at 693.5. SEP is down 2 at 708.5, and Dees is down 1 at 729.5. Dow Jones is unchanged at 39,955. S&P down 2 points at 5,329. Nasdaq is down 38 points at 18,725. Gold is up 8 points at 24.30, and crude is down 2% at 78.50 a barrel. If you're out in the Colorado area and have any grain to market or any risk management questions, please call John Handke at 970-744-4484, or you can call the Overland Park office, myself, Tom Saludo, Jared Law, or Tyler Ghosh at 913-748-3000. Thank you.
The Anderson Trade Group, proud market partners with Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio. Find out more at andersongrain.com. The risk of loss through trading futures and or options is substantial, and each investor and or trader must consider whether this is a suitable investment. Past performance, whether actual or indicated, is not indicative of future results. The Anderson Trade Group has no guarantee that the advice given will result in profitable trades.
There are a lot of inconsistencies when growing soybeans. The soil, the weather, the market. You need something you can count on, like Revitech fungicide from BASF. It consistently outyields other fungicides by up to 9.5 bushels per acre, consistently wins in on-farm head-to-head comparisons, and consistently makes for happy farmers. Revitech fungicide. Visit revxfields.com for full results. Always read and follow label directions. Yield data based on summary of 2019 through 2022 Revex field scale demonstration trials.
It's the time of year when we celebrate all the moms, dads, and grads in our lives. So stop into Viera Wireless to get your mom, dad, or grad a gift they'll adore, like one of the latest smartphones on us. That includes the iPhone 15 with its all-new 48-megapixel camera, or the Samsung Galaxy S24, powered by advanced Galaxy AI. Get these cutting-edge devices and more on us when you stop into Viero today. Taxes, fees, and select trade-in required. Other restrictions may apply. See store for details.
Back to the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
I'm scrolling the Twitter sphere here this morning during the break, and so the Big Ten baseball tournament gets underway today from the Chuck, as it's known, Charles Schwab Field in Omaha. Well, there's been a whole bunch of rain that has been going through the Nebraska part of Omaha and the eastern part of the state. There's a picture of a guy who was at the Chuck this morning, and the entire dugout on the third base side is flooded. It looks like a swimming pool. I kid you not. It looks like a swimming pool. Anyway, the caption on this, it goes, "Let them play. Let them play." The whole dugout looks like a swimming pool. It's completely flooded.
Let them play. God. They can relax in the pool in between innings. Come on.
That is absolutely nuts. But yeah, the dugout is completely flooded. So I'm guessing that will be a delay in the Big Ten baseball tournament. By the way, Kansas and Kansas State, they are beginning play currently right now down at Globe Life Field, playing each other in the 6-7 matchup. More on that coming up here in the walk-off. I wanted to get into an article yesterday that I saw, I saw it earlier last week, but I haven't had a chance to get to it. But Athlon Sports, they do a great job with this, talking about, they were ranking the Big 12 college football coaches for 2024. And I honestly don't have a complaint with looking at this list here. And the one thing I always want to know is, well, where do the regional coaches stack up? So where is Lance Leipold? Where is Chris Kleiman? Where do they stack up? Honestly, I don't know if I could really do a whole lot of complaining with how Athlon stacked them up here to do this part. I really don't. Right now, Lance Leipold sits at second, and Chris Kleiman sits at fourth. If I'm going to have a minor bit of a gripe, it might be that I could see Kleiman maybe moving up into third over Mike Gundy, but Gundy's just done it a little bit longer at a pretty good level, and so I think I would give Gundy just I don't know. It's almost a tie for third, in my opinion. I do think Lance Leipold is probably the second best coach, only behind Kyle Whittingham at this point in time, because the success, that he has had at Utah for many, many years.
Yeah, I was sort of interested or intrigued by this list. Less with complaints, like Ross said. I don't think it's all that bad of a list with some qualifiers. It almost seems like a power ranking of coaches and not like an actual ranking. Do you know what I mean? Instead of saying Whittingham
what are you basing it off of? I guess that would be the question. What are you basing it off of?
Because I think if you're actually ranking the coaches in terms of objectively saying this coach is greater than this coach is greater than this coach, Gundy's, I think, a clear-cut number 2. And I think Kleinman is maybe even right up there with, if not above, Leipold. I also think UCF's coach should be higher. I think, it feels like a very this coming year specific type of list.
Well,
You know what I mean?
Every year they do a ranking like this. So yes, it's kind of a reshuffling of the deck every year to kind of figure out who goes where. Why? Because you're basing off Gus Malzahn that he's won a national championship. He should be higher.
That's sort of what I'm.
You're basing it off of prior success.
That's what I'm saying. Is it if they didn't really take prior success into the account all that much, then I think this isn't a bad list. But even so, if you're not taking prior and just last year and this year into account, then Mike Gundy should be much lower. You know what I mean?
I think what they're trying to do, and I could be wrong on this, I think they're trying to encapsulate everything. They're trying to say how successful they've been in previous stops, how they're doing currently right now, and how we think they're going to be in the future. I know that's a lot, but I think they're trying to kind of pull all that together and put something together. I think that's why.
The list for those of you that don't know has Whittingham from Utah at number 1, Leipold number 2, Gundy at number 3, and Kleinman at number 4, though they have a little bit of an intro written, and it sort of says that obviously Whittingham's number 1. I think, Rott, you agree? I think it's pretty clear cut.
I think it's clear cut what they've done at Utah for many years and playing for Pac-12 titles, and their style of football is going to play just fine in the Big 12. They're going to be unbelievably physical. They're going to be a knockdown, drag out, defensive minded type of team. They are not going to be any fun. Anybody who has Utah on their schedule this year is going to grit their teeth and like, this is going to hurt. We're going to feel it after this one. Kyle Whittingham is a big reason for that and how great he's done leading. And think about where he's done. I mean, he was a part of the Mountain West Conference. They had success there. He then led them to the Pac-12, where he built them up and found success there, where they were the biggest threat. You know, they were knocking off USC and Oregon. They were competing with the top-notch teams in the Pac-12 and playing for Pac-12 titles. And heck, even getting into conversations for the national championship picture, they were doing all that stuff. And so, yes, I think he's clearly the number 1 coach. And honestly, I think Leipold is clearly number 2. I think Leipold is clearly number 2 because that man, if you want to encapsulate everything he's done, he is a man, he's a self-made man. Starting out at Wisconsin Whitewater, I believe is where he started. Right. Where he went 109-6 and won how many national champs, to going to a measly program like Buffalo, where he actually finished with a winning record in 5 seasons there. I think it might have been 6, 15, 16, 17, 18. Yeah, 6 seasons there at Buffalo. And now he's at Kansas, which was considered, I don't know what you thought of it up in Michigan during the time, but here it was considered one of the worst football programs in the nation when he took it over. And look where they're at. They've already gone to bowl games. They've gone to 2 bowl games. They've won a bowl game now last year. The trajectory for that team is so high because they did all that last year without the big preseason Big 12 player of the year in Jalen Daniels. So if he stays healthy, that's going to be even higher. And with Texas and Oklahoma being gone, although the addition of Utah kind of replaces one of them, but you're going to lose 2 good teams and get 1 back. Yeah, there's a chance for Kansas to even move up even higher, I think. And so I think 1 and 2 is a lockdown deal. Now, Gundy and Kleinman, like I said, I think you could juggle that around at 3 and 4 if you wanted to. I don't have an issue with Gundy being there. I just think he's done it a little bit longer at this level, and he's had pretty good success where, you know, Kleinman has had a great 2-year stretch. We'll see. I'm very intrigued to see what he does this year with a brand new quarterback and what I think is going to be a brand new kind of looking system for them. I'm very intrigued to see what it looks like.
I mean, but don't you love past history? You just listed all of Leipold's. Kleinman was incredible at North Dakota State.
Oh, he was fantastic. 69-6.
How does that not factor more in? That's what I'm saying, where I'm just a little confused on what qualifies, because it feels like in some places on this list, they take that past history and they say, Whitewater, come on, you know, look what he's done for so long. And then in other places, like Gundy, like Leipold, it's less weighted.
So if I'm comparing Leipold and Kleinman, let's just say I'm comparing those 2.
Perfect. Yep.
So Leipold started at Wisconsin Whitewater, and yes, he took over a decent Whitewater. I don't know how they've been good for a long time. I don't know, but he took over a pretty darn good program, I think, and really kept it going. Kleinman, I think took over a very, very well established program at North Dakota State. Klieman also took over a very good established program at Kansas State, taking over for Bill Snyder. The program was not in a doldrum. Klieman took over a program that was absolutely with dumpster fire and has put it up in a pretty good level already. That's why I give the nod to Leipold over Klieman, because I think he's done more with less. Whereas, not to take anything away from Klieman, the cupboard was nowhere near as bare as it was for Leipold. And so that would be my breakdown of it. Now, the Gundy deal, like I said, that's a toss-up to me. Sure. And I guess I'll give Gundy just a little bit of a nod for the simple fact that he has been in the Big 12 a lot longer. I think he's one of the longest tenured coaches.
Period,
I think. Yeah. So he's one of the longest tenured coaches in college football, and he's done it for a while, and he's had pretty decent success. And I would give the nod to Klieman if he's been doing it for a few more years, and he probably will surpass Gundy, Will Klieman, if he finds success in this coming season, and then when this next generation, the post-Will Howard era. That's what I want to see with Avery Johnson and those guys. How good did they become?
He took over, did Gundy, by the way, in 2005. Has a career as a head right, especially today when every head coaching spot seems to be a carousel. A winning percentage as a head coach of 67.8 for Mike Gundy. Very, very, very impressive. So, like I was saying, I don't super disagree with you. I know I probably should to make this more entertaining, but Leipold, Gundy, and Klieman all feel, in my mind, that they have equal-ish claim or very, very close claims at that number 2 spot. I think they're all sort of in a tier by themselves just below Whittingham, and I'll take it. Like I said, I was sort of looking for a qualifier or something to judge them on why Leipold was as high, and I get the program building, so I'm not mad at that. I do think Gundy gets the nod over Klieman as well. I'll take that history. I don't super hate this list, to be honest. Like I said, if we're factoring history in, Malzahn should probably be higher. I love that they stuck Deion way down at the bottom. Deion Sanders, number 15 on this list out of 16, which I think is both hilarious and not entirely inaccurate. Partly because if you're taking history, he doesn't have a very long one. And at the same time, I think he's upsetting the natural order of things, sort of pisses a lot of we'll say, established football minds like Ross, who likes the old ways, and I'm not knocking him for that, but I think that sort of
I will
gets
be
him
highly
low on that
intrigued
list.
after this season what Deion does. If Deion stays at Colorado, what does his team look like without his son at quarterback? He has his son is a first-round pick next year in the NFL draft. He's very good. He's highly talented. He's not really big, and that's a concern against a bad offensive line that I think he plays in front of most of the time, but he's a phenomenal thrower of the football. And so Shedeur Sanders deserves a lot of credit for how good of a player he is, but I don't know if his dad's put enough pieces around him, especially in the trenches, to help him out again this year. And so my question would be, if you put a lesser quarterback behind him going forward, how does Colorado look? Does
he even want to stay?
That would be, I don't know either. I don't know either. So 15 to me is about right, ahead of Kenny Dillingham of Arizona State, who's 16th. And Kenny's he's just a little bit younger than me. He's like 33 years old. He's a young guy, and he's got a tough job ahead. We'll see what he does. I don't have a problem with that list. Scott Satterfield of Cincinnati, he could honestly be down at the bottom. How bad he's been with his stops at Louisville and now at Cincinnati. Brent Brenham is too much. It's too much unknown. He did have a really good showing at San Jose State, did Brent Brenham, but now he's at Arizona. It's his first year there. We'll see. Dave Aranda is a guy that has fallen from grace. This was a guy who probably was in the top 3 a few years ago, because remember, he took Baylor to the Big 12 title game in 2020 in a 12-2 record, and they have really fallen off here. Really fallen off. Kalani Sitake, I think BYU will be a team that kind of starts to kind of put it back together. They're a team that's extremely physical and can play. They went 5-7 last year. they're going to learn from that first year of being in the Big 12 and playing quality opponents week in and week out instead of being an independent like they had been in previous years. They'll find things out. I feel like Shiitake's going to figure things out as well. Joey McGuire, I think maybe is starting a little bit of a sleeping giant at Texas Tech because they have the funding and the money to bring in NIL, to get brand new facilities there in Lubbock. And so I think they're kind of a sleeping giant. Joey McGuire there at 10. Neil Brown at West Virginia, he'd be a heck of a lot lower if it wasn't for last year because he went from on the hot seat to a Coach of the Year candidate when he led the Mountaineers to a great 2023 campaign. They went 9-4, which was very impressive. So, and they won their bowl game over North Carolina in the Duke's Mayo Bowl. He got dumped mayo on him. So Neil Brown at West Virginia moved up a lot. And then you get to Malzahn and Sonny Dykes, guys that have played for national titles. You know, Malzahn probably rode the coattails of some at Auburn to get to that national title a little bit, although his offense was game-changing at the time. Sonny Dykes really rode just a hot streak there at TCU that year that they played in the national championship and lost handily to Georgia. Or was it Alabama? It was Georgia. And then you have Matt Campbell at 6 and Willie Fritz coming in at 5. Willie Fritz, by the way, is a Kansas guy. He played at Pitt State, did Willie Fritz. Look, he's the native Kansas is a heck of a football coach. He is a very similar build to a Lance Leipold. Why? Because he was at Central Missouri, Division II school, where he went 97-47 during my time in college. Then he went to Sam Houston for 3 years, went 40-15. Georgia Southern, where he went 17-7. And then went to Tulane, where he was 55-47, including that great Cotton Bowl win over USC. Remember that? That was all Willie Fritz that did that at Houston. And now he takes over, that was him at Tulane. And now he takes over at Houston, which he's going to have recruiting resources and money to back him up. I don't see how Houston doesn't become a really good football program underneath Willie Fritz. I would be surprised if he doesn't have success. So this list, like you said, I don't have a lot of complaints with it. I really, really don't. I think it's pretty darn accurate where it sits, and I'm glad to see that the regional coaches, especially Leipold and Kleiman, are in the top 5 because they are no doubt deserving of that.
With you all the way. Got to get to a break, though.
Yeah, let's get to a break. We'll come back. We'll quickly hit on the NBA as well as college baseball as we wrap up the show next year on a Tuesday.
Your livelihood is important to you. You work hard to succeed in your farming operation, crop, livestock, home, vehicles, and special needs. We have you covered. Discounts are available for new business, remodeling, hail-resistive roofing, multi-policy, and many more. Optional coverage endorsements as well for machinery ingestion and equipment breakdown. Umbrella coverage for additional coverage on your home, farm, and auto. See the girls at the insurance agency at 1020 Main in Goodland or call 785-899-5011.
S&M Towing and Recovery is expanding to Oakley and vicinity. A new shop and tow yard with a new heavy-duty wrecker will open near Oakley. Qualified trained wrecker technicians and recovery teams to get the job done no matter what size. 24-hour roadside assistance will take care of the big rigs, the little jobs and trailers in all sorts of weather. Here's your phone number. Write it down. 785-899-5423. 785-899-5423. S&M Towing and Recovery. Goodland, Colby, Burlington, and soon Oakley.
The Farmer State Bank of Oakley has been financing agriculture since the day we opened our doors. Hello, this is Corbin, and we are proud to be your locally owned partner in ag. We invite you to come and visit with us when you need to purchase new or used farm equipment, or need any type of agriculture or business loan. We have the knowledge, experience, and financial resources to keep you growing. The Farmer State Bank of Oakley, a tradition of community and agriculture for over 115 years. Member FDIC.
It's the Morning Blitz.
What is this, amateur hour?
Weekday mornings from 7 to 8 Mountain, 8 to 9 Central on 102.5 U Rock and the Rocking M app.
A cooler day on tap today. Temperature is going to be only in the mid-60s after a rainy morning, but should be warmer coming up on Thursday. 84 on Thursday. Christian will have to get the sticks back out and get to swinging again is what he'll have to do. NBA postseason picks up play here again after an off day. Eastern Conference Finals, am I right on that? Yes. Or is it Western Conference tonight? I think it's Eastern.
Eastern starts tonight.
Pacers, Celtics. Okay, let's just call it right now. Celtics in 5 or in 6? I'll give the Pacers one game.
My gut says 5. I've got a very good friend who's a diehard Pacers fan, and he's sort of just hoping against hope that they that they win one.
Michael,
yeah, Michael on the text line says 4. Michael, I'm just giving respect to the Pacers who just keep finding ways to win basketball games that they probably shouldn't. I think 5. Boston is minus 10.5 tonight. All due respect to Indiana, that seems like a pretty good line. Tomorrow night, I think starts the better series. Dallas at Minnesota, Mavs at the Timberwolves. People have somehow written off Dallas a little bit. Not that they think it's a shoo-in for many. I sort of do. But Dallas is a very good basketball team. They sort of, for years it's been, how the heck do we fit a team around Luka? We can't get the right shooters. We can't get a star that works well with him. And they sort of snapped their fingers and it all clicked into place at once, little by little and then all at once. Like so many things, it happened for the Mavericks. And I think they've got a very good team. I don't think they have the size to hang with the T-Wolves. And I think it is T-Wolves in 6. But I think the Mavs give them a very good fight. That starts tomorrow night, and tonight, Eastern Conference Finals, Game 1 on tap.
A 3-run walk-off home run. A game-winning walk-off with a walk-off.
His second walk-off hit of the season. In walk-off fashion, that baby's go.
Well, today is a great day in the world of Ross because college baseball is in about as fullest swing as it can get. Tournaments begin today across the nation. So you have the SEC tournament taking place from Hoover, Alabama, which will get going this morning with LSU and Georgia at 8:30. Kansas State will kick things off in the Big 12 tournament down from Globe Life Field in Arlington in the Big 12 tournament. The Big 10 tournament might get underway today if they can get that swimming pool emptied out there in the third base dugout. We'll see about that. With Purdue and Indiana and Nebraska supposed to play later today. There's tons of tournaments going on this week. It's so much fun. It's baseball from the time that you sit down at the breakfast table to when you put your head on the pillow at night. And it's great fun, great baseball. I invite you, if you haven't watched it, do it. It is the purest form of collegiate sports almost left on the men's side. Telling you right now. Most guys aren't playing on full rides. They're playing on partial scholarships, maybe a tiny bit of NIL. They're out there playing because they love the game. And it's a great, great time. I invite you to tune in. That's what I'll be doing today.
As you should.
Watching it.
The
So
world of Ross, isn't that just the world? Aren't we all living in the world of Ross?
No. I only live in my own world. Even my own wife doesn't live in my own world. God bless her heart. That'll do it for us today. For Christian Peck-Dimit